Pardon the disturbance, but are you Juliette Montgomery?
I am. And you are?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into the events surrounding your mother's attempted murder.
Ah, of course.
Have you got time to answer some questions?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
You don't seem to be doing much. Tell me about yourself.
So, you study botany. Fascinating subject.
Are you an admirer of plants, Mr. Fordham?
My wife has the green thumb in the household, but I do have a certain appreciation for them.
Plants are amazing things. Just like people in many ways.
How do you mean?
They need attention and care. Ignore a plant, and it will wither. Give it too much attention, and it will become sick. Plants have many things to teach us, and I greatly enjoy learning from them.
You should just go marry one then.
These plants are impressive. Are they yours?
Yes, I've developed a method to make them extra healthy and strong.
They're larger than anything I've ever seen. How do you do it?
Ah, but I can't reveal my secrets, Mr. Fordham. The world will hear about my discoveries soon enough.
Incidentally, do you know anything about Easter lilies?
No, I don't keep or grow those here.
Do you know anything about the events leading up to your mother's premature interment?
No, it was a complete shock. Mother seemed to be perfectly healthy and full of life. Then, without warning, she was dead. Or so we thought.
I take it you were glad to be wrong?
What a ridiculous question. Of course I was. What sort of heartless beast would celebrate their mother's death?
Oh, I could name a few. Juliette definitely didn't shed any tears over Madame Dupre, though. That much is obvious.
Miss Montgomery, you don't have to lie to me. I'm not going to assume you tried killing your mother just because you weren't upset by her death.
There it is.
I felt terrible about it. You have to understand, I didn't want her to be dead. I just felt a sense of relief. Please, don't think me a horrible person, Mr. Fordham. It's just that Mother and I aren't currently on the best of terms.
Well, you seem like a sweet kid, and it's difficult growing up with a racist mother.
Why don't you and your mother get along?
We've never completely seen eye to eye on anything. She always disapproved of anything I did. When I was younger, she used to forbid me from speaking to the servants. I saw no harm in a kind word or smile, but she warned us that if we were too familiar, they would take liberties. Then when I declared my intentions to pursue academic studies, she really went livid. In her opinion, a university education was tantamount to a chastity belt. What sort of man would want a wife with a head full of useless facts, she'd say.
Personally, I've always found intelligence to be quite attractive.
I assume your mother didn't approve of your involvement with Mr. Martin?
A rather forward question, Mr. Fordham. But you're not mistaken. I'm not sure how she managed to find out about Albert and me, but when she did, she nearly had a conniption. As I'm sure you can understand, the situation at home has been less than perfect in the last few months. I'd really rather not dwell on it.
You mentioned you were friends with the servants.
Yes, that's right. I didn't care that they worked for us. Everyone needs a friend.
Did your mother ever mistreat them?
Mistreat? No, I wouldn't say so. She was always very stern, though, and quite cold. If they ever shirked their duties or misbehaved, they were punished, of course, but nothing out of the ordinary that I ever saw. Most of the servants are my friends, but I'm closest with Amelie, the kitchen maid. Mother wasn't too happy about that. Amelie's been around as long as I can remember. She's like the aunt I never had.
What can you tell me about Albert Martin?
I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Why not start by telling me what your relationship with him was?
We met here at the greenhouse. He was working as an assistant, sweeping and cleaning and fetching things for the students. My focus was on academics, naturally. I wasn't too interested in romance. In fact, I've had to turn away nearly every single one of my classmates. But with Albert, I found myself intrigued. I noticed him stealing glances, lingering just a bit too long after bringing over a book or flask, sweeping the same patch of floor near me over and over again. It wasn't too long before I had him bringing me tools and equipment, regularly.
I see.
As I mentioned, Mother was an absolute terror when she found out.
Do you believe Mr. Martin did what he stands accused of?
I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't seem like him, but Albert can be quite passionate. If the police believe he's to blame, then they must have a reason for it. It wasn't any secret that he hated Mother. Perhaps I should have ended things sooner. It was satisfying to know that Mother was displeased, but I never imagined it would lead to something like this.
Well, it's nice to see she's all heart.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Again, she doesn't seem very fazed that he's basically gonna get hanged tomorrow. The police don't have much else than, oh, black magic. That guy probably did it. No evidence whatsoever. Alright, let's go talk to the racists.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
I am aware.
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
I'm surprised that he doesn't mind.
This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. With her vast sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed. Her eyes are glazed over and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person.
So she's not gonna speak to us at all. I should probably save. I get the feeling in this game that you can make a lot of mistakes, and I will, unless I save. Let's talk to you, Doc.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
How long have you been Madame Dupre's private physician?
5 years, and I've been practicing medicine for the past 30. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview Asylum.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky, he could be your doctor someday.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly heal broken bones, among other things. If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
Well, it kinda goes out of fashion. But you've been involved quite intimately with Madame Dupre, being her physician and everything. You know her quite well, and you know that she has vast amounts of money. So why wouldn't you poison her in some way or another to make her basically a vegetable? I'm watching you, buddy.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
She is a great woman and a pillar of the community. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her, or how someone could be capable of such a barbaric feat. Though this ordeal has been terrible, I am confident she will overcome. The power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her strength of character.
Do you think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt it.
Yeah, me too, Bill.
What were the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Dupre had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Dupre wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look. Did you examine Madame Dupre after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however. She's remained in an unresponsive state ever since.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Dupre to appear dead?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
What leads you to believe Madame Dupre was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of black magic cult? There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear dead, then commanding them to do their bidding. I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried. He appeared alive in his village some 20 years later.
Doesn't that seem a bit far-fetched to you, Doctor?
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham. Surely someone in your line of work can appreciate that.
I don't know.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Too adequate, I might add. So where's my casebook? Let's see, what have I collected? Investigate the tomb, question residents of the manor. Was most likely poisoned. I wonder if, at the voodoo place, that statue that we saw, maybe it was a voodoo doll of Madame Dupre. I still kind of want to press the subject, but I'm afraid she's gonna get upset and just kick me out or some shit. Maybe I'll talk to her son again and convince her to ease up.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them. Not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes, well, I'll have a look around and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him.
Damn, seems like he's having a good time.
What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupre's a cool copper.
Maybe I can get him to say compromising information. Ooh, I can speak to it. Yay. Who's a pretty bird?
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Ray. His name is Ray.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
Must have been funny. Imagine the voice actor having to make parrot noises. Pieces of 8.
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Ray is the prettiest bird.
So long, birdie.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you suppose that's for the bird? Or perhaps so the Dupre family members can get a good look at themselves on the way out of the house? Dupre looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life.
Go upstairs or to the kitchen, but let's talk to Andrew first. Or Andrew, man.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
Goody. Those are some serious chops.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
Okay. Tell me a bit more about yourself, since you're in a very talkative mood.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliette?
I'm reminded of a famous quote, Mr. Fordham. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Let us part on good terms and avoid the subject altogether, please.
I apparently cannot talk to you about much since you can't focus on anything except the parrot.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is that bad, do you think?
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery. Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Maybe I can just rustle up a tonic or something. That was a very dramatic going up the stairs motion.
A horrible little porcelain figurine. Madame Dupre didn't strike me as the type to play with dolls.
Maybe it's a voodoo doll. Everything can be a voodoo doll.
Nice bouquet of roses. Although it would make things much easier if they were Easter lilies.
If only.
What is this obsession with Easter lilies? Is there something I missed? They are pretty, but they keep getting brought up. Oh, was it Yes! When we went to that flower shop, the lilies kept getting stolen. Well, stolen and paid for.
Ah, the Gascon docks. The artist definitely took some liberties. You can't see a single person getting stabbed. Must be nice being able to afford keeping your oil lamps lit during the daytime.
It's kind of pointless, isn't it?
Goodness, someone went overboard with the flowers. This brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Ones I'd rather forget.
Why would anyone need so many flowers in one room?
Perhaps it's to mask the odors of those chemicals on the workstation.
Could be.
Ah, this is where we're gonna build up the hangover cure.
I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Dupre and I at least have similar tastes.
Well, Bill, I guess you do. Ah, this is where we're gonna rustle up a tonic. Workstation.
These should be useful.
I just take them. I have no idea what I'm doing, mate. So you shouldn't take shit.
It looks as though this folded piece of paper is being used as a bookmark. I hope remembering what page they were on wasn't too important.
Looks like it's a letter for Andrew.
Aw, shit, I should have opened the book. Enclosed is the agreed-upon fee. I wouldn't be able to concentrate on exams without this help. Dr. Tennyson charges an obscene amount. Thank goodness for good people like you with home pharmacies. I'll look for them in the usual spot under the weeping angel. Sorry to hear about your mother. I'll wait a few days before passing by.
The science of pharmacology. I'm sure it's riveting stuff. I can only wonder what sort of potions Andrew concocts in this thing. Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills. These would make a sloth act like a hummingbird.
Seems to be empty.
A gentle reminder that everyone's time is slowly running out.
Well, except for yours, Bill.
Decadent. Is this really the best that medical science has to offer?
Leeches are pretty useful.
What in the ether is that thing supposed to be? Actually, I'd rather not know.
So this is Andrew's little meth lab. That's good to know. We probably need to make some vigor pills or some shit.
It must be a nice place to sit and listen to music. Oh, look! It's one of those new audio cylindergraphs. I can't quite wrap my head around how they can manage to get sound out of a wax cylinder.
Oh, there's something hidden in here. Well, I don't know what I'm doing, again, so I'll just leave this before I make too much noise.
I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Dupre and I at least have similar tastes.
You go, Bill. You get yours. Oh, I thought I could inspect the under part of this workstation, but I cannot. What is in this room? weird that they're just letting me roam around their house. Normally there would be a little more resistance.
Juliette really likes plants and flowers, doesn't she? Nice little cottage. Looks like it would make a nice cozy spot to retire. If I hadn't already retired from life, that is.
Yeah, that one little detail.
I've never seen so many beauty products together in one place. Doesn't look like they get used much, though.
Can I take any of them?
I've never seen so many
Never seen so many.
Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
Maybe we're gonna pick it open.
They're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing.
What, the drawers are all empty? All of them?
Let's have a look through these papers. Aha, what's this?
Dear Miss Montgomery, unfortunately I've been informed of a series of burglaries in the neighborhood, near the room you're renting from me at 76 Forest Lane. As a precaution, I've gone ahead and changed the locks. Please find enclosed a copy of a new key. Interesting, so she's renting a place.
So, Juliette is renting a room in the Chum. That's certainly interesting. I can't wait to see what sort of dirty secrets she's got hidden away in there.
Oh yeah, she's renting a place in a bad neighborhood.
Well, someone's fancy. I never liked these types of beds much. They feel too claustrophobic.
I always thought they had a certain appeal myself.
Yes, you would think that about a bed that lets you shut out the rest of the world.
I kind of like them too. You get really a lot of privacy. You can just create your own little space. They're nice. So I'm sure Juliette is not going to be happy about the fact that I took her spare key. But maybe it was the, apartment in a bad neighborhood where they couldn't be followed, where they could meet in secret. I really want to open that chest.
A much younger Madame Dupre. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror. That's an old uniform, from the turn of the century by the look of it. This must be Madame Dupre's first husband. Kinda strange that she'd still keep his portrait in the bedroom. Ooh, a fainting couch. I always wanted one of these, but I never fainted enough to justify buying one.
The Parsons of Crook Hall, Convent of the Damned and Other Short Stories, The Chestertons, A Brief History, that was her family on her father's side, Choice and Consequence, Equestrian Mesmerism, Buffalo Skinner, A Wild Man's Tale. One of those melodramatic romances. I read it a while back and I couldn't tell you a thing about it. Oh, I get that. If it's a mediocre book, I can't really remember anything about it after a couple of years.
Now that one sounds interesting. I was always a fan of Bedletter's short stories. Doesn't appear to be very brief if there's 2 volumes of it. Wonder if anyone outside the family would find this even remotely interesting.
Probably not.
Doesn't appear to be... Choice and Consequence. Who in their right mind would write a book about that?
I know, right?
I don't even want to know what that one's about.
Horse Whisperers, apparently.
I read that one last year. If you ever wanted to know the intimate details of a buffalo's anatomy, I highly recommend it.
Oh, Bill, you're just full of useful information, aren't you? I'm glad I have you in my head.
It would appear that Madame Dupre was taking music lessons.
Her current predicament has probably put an end to that venture, though.
Well, I guess this is going to be useful for the piano thing. Maybe.
Seems Madame Dupre fancies herself a poet.
And she doesn't know it. O Morpheus, caress my cheek. Bring forth the soothing visions. Give me strength when I am weak. Allow me some provisions. In your domain, I am as a queen, controlling all I see and hear. I've traveled places I've never been, and know not the meaning of fear. The dove is pure, serene and pale, a glowing angel in the sparkling sky. Its gentle coos, I think that is, and like the whale. Of the cursed crow that will not die. That's getting a little racist. Protect the dove from the grim defeat. Let it remain in gentle flight, for when the crow's allowed to eat, it covers the world in eternal night.
Well, that was life-changing.
For once in my life, I'm completely speechless.
Then perhaps I should take this with me and read it more often. Nah.
Nah. I got an achievement. It said, don't quit your day job. Don't quit your day job, Madame
Let's see if
Dupre.
there's anything in these drawers. Damn, nothing but personal effects and more stationery.
Don't forget the first rule of detective work. If there's nothing useful inside, check underneath and between.
Ah, yes, of course. Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you, Bill.
Uh-huh, now this is intriguing.
I'm not gonna warn you again. You disgusting mulatto thug. Stay away from my daughter and my house, or I'll kill you. Most probably. So she was threatening him. What a lovely, lovely lady.
Nothing else of interest in there. You've got some huge bags under your eyes, Miles. Reminds me of the case we had on that strange train.
Don't remind me.
Well, we've confirmed suspicion that she is truly a racist and she was threatening the guy's family. Let's talk to... what was her name? The girl in the kitchen. She was friends with Juliette. Let's hear what she has to say about all of this bullshit. This bread looks amazing.
Certainly no shortage of bowls or food preparation items around here. Yeah, looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe. Some kind of water dispensing device, maybe? I was never very good at finding my way around the kitchen. Looks like the type of spices you'd use in a stew. Most likely paprika or turmeric. Nice variety of reds and oranges.
Bill, you do know your way around a kitchen, it seems.
Judging by the amount of food this family probably eats, washing the dishes must take forever. It's times like these make me wish I could still eat.
Food is pretty good.
It's times like these...
Oh, sorry, Bill.
Pardon me, miss.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Madame Dupre.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm very busy. I can't help you.
Amelie, please. I need to know what you know about Madame Dupre.
What? How did you know my name?
Juliette told me about you.
Miss Juliette?
Yes, I spoke to her at the university. She mentioned you two were friends.
Yes, that's right. She's always been so good to me.
Look, Amelie, I'm just trying to get some information. And I have a feeling you can be very helpful if you'd just let me talk to you.
All right, fine. But do it as fast as you can.
Are you the only remaining servant here?
No, there's another one. Marcel. He's the new gardener. I haven't seen him in a few days, though. Not since before Madame's incident.
Interesting.
What do you know about Juliette?
She was always so kind to me and the others, but her mother don't like that one bit. Still, she sneaks down into the kitchen to keep me company some nights. Even though she's a good soul, I think part of her does it just to spite her mother.
What can you tell me about Andrew?
He ain't so bad. Kinda spoiled, but he mostly cleans up after himself. Has a whole private part of the house, but I think he only uses one room. Better for me, way less to clean.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
Oh, I really shouldn't, sir.
It would greatly help my investigation if you did.
Madame Dupre was kind enough to hire me as her cook. It's hard to get jobs in the city. Lots of people want their servants to use those new machines. My sister's brother-in-law got half his leg blown off by one of those new ovens. He's lucky he wasn't killed. so I'm plenty happy working here doing real people's work. But Madam can be difficult sometimes.
Difficult? What do you mean by that?
No, I said enough.
What do you know about Madame Dupre's supposed death?
All I can tell you is that whoever did it really hated her.
Do you know Albert Martin, the man accused of the crime?
No, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
Well. I think I'm gonna talk to the doctor again, see if I can rustle up a remedy for good old Andrew here. And then... oh, and then we can go to the cemetery.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
May I ask exactly what kind of sedative you gave Andrew?
A simple tincture of laudanum. It's what I give all my nervous patients.
He seems a bit out of sorts.
Hot? Meat kettle.
It can have that effect, but it usually wears off in half a day or so.
Is there a way to bring him out of his condition sooner?
A stimulant would have the opposite effect, but I wouldn't recommend mixing the two. It could have potentially harmful effects on his heart.
Oh, of course. I wasn't planning on doing anything of the sort. I was just curious.
It's cute how you act like you have no experience in these matters. It's almost convincing.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
I hope I'm not gonna give Andrew a heart attack. Now, last look... oh wait. 76 Forest Lane. Right! Because we found out she rented an apartment in Chumley. I kinda wanna go there.
Egad! Is this someone's room or a jungle?
Quite a fascinating array of plants in here. Not to mention the machinery on the table.
Seems like Juliette is very interested in getting extra credit. I wonder what sort of fertilizer or growth tonic these plants are getting. Whatever it is, it's definitely working.
I wonder if this tonic that she uses on the plants, can we use it on her brother as well, as a stimulant?
That's quite the book collection. It almost puts Adelaide's to shame.
All impeccably cataloged and organized as well, which makes the two missing volumes stand out even more.
Those are the most vibrant flowers we've seen in a while. I bet they smell extra strong.
Yes, they certainly do.
It's a good thing you're the one with the nose.
Yeah, because he was allergic to pollen.
This plant makes Miles Jr. look like a single blade of grass. They appear to be scientific scribblings. I can't make heads nor tails of them.
That makes two of us.
They appear to be...
That makes two of it.
I'm guessing they're probably full of more scientific equipment or plant-related stuff.
Well now, this is interesting.
Etheric effects. Well, that doctor did mention something about etheric something. Larger, more vibrant flowers. Chlorophyll production seemingly triples. Root systems strengthen, increasing capacity to absorb nutrients. Plants thrive from exposure to small etheric currents. Further experiments are needed to determine the long-term effects. And the effects on fauna. Brain is clearly affected, inducing a trance-like state. Muscle control lost, wings flap in predictable pattern. If animals with greater cognitive ability, including humans, are exposed to specific quantities of ethericity, they will go into a stupor, appearing unresponsive or dead. Oh dear, this really incriminates her.
Just a bunch of technical nonsense. I can't understand a word of it.
This was used on her mother.
Etheric pressure. What a bunch of nonsense. They're just doing what flies do best. I have no idea nor desire to know what purpose that thing has. Oh, would you look at that?
Interesting. What just happened?
Etheric Oh, would you look at that?
Okay, so this wasn't a lover's meeting spot. Interesting, but this really incriminates her.
Ah, St. Denis Cemetery. Best view in the city. It's just a shame none of the residents can enjoy it. I think I'm buried around here somewhere. Wonder how the old gravestone is doing these days.
Well, we might as well visit it. But after this, I think we'll just go around and talk to the other people that we've talked to before. See if there's anything else to add to the conversations.
The plaque says Harrison. Doesn't look very opulent, so I guess it doesn't belong to anyone important.
Just Harrison.
Looks like people have left markings and offerings in front of this tomb. You may think it's a silly superstition, but I wish you'd leave a bottle of Bollingworth at my grave every now and then.
Well, it's not like you can drink it. Or can you?
Nice view of the river from up here. You can hardly even see the cloud of smog over the chum.